This is the Iowa Weather Report for Wednesday, October the 24th, 2012. Now time for our first look at the 0Z GFS Model Run. This is at 1 p.m. this afternoon at 500 millibars, or about 18,000 feet off the ground. We have a trough moving into the Pacific Northwest and Northern Rockies. And ahead of it, we have a storm system with a cold front and a few low pressure centers bringing some showers and thunderstorms to the state, some of which could be severe, and some snow well up into the mountains. As for the severe weather, the Storm Prediction Center has a slight risk of severe weather extending from western Lake Superior through most of western and northwestern Wisconsin, through a good portion of Iowa and southeastern Minnesota into east central Nebraska. This is the tornado outlook for today and tonight, a 5% probability, extending from central and north central Iowa northeastward through southeastern Minnesota into western Wisconsin and western UP of Michigan. And then we have the damaging wind outlook. The standard 15% in a typical slight risk, in about the same area as the 5% tornado risk from central and north central Iowa northeastward to western UP of Michigan. And the large hail outlook extends from eastern Nebraska, maybe Lincoln and Omaha, through Des Moines, Mason City, La Crosse, Minneapolis, St. Paul, up to Rhinelander and up into the western parts of the UP of Michigan. So let's take a look at some stats with the surface-based CAPE. This is expected at 7 p.m. this evening. You see CAPE values well over 2,000 joules, in fact 2,500 joules possible. But this could be the limiting factor. This is the CINH, or the convective inhibition or capping layer. The dark reds are where it's weakest. The purples and greens is where it's strongest, so that could be the limiting factor of any severe weather today. But heading into Thursday, back to the GFS, the low pressure center near, over the central part of Lake Superior, cold front moving just into the eastern extreme of the state, some showers and colder temperatures, and it gets much colder here Friday. Temperatures for highs during the day may be struggling to get out of the 40s. Pretty stiff breeze, but not overly so. And the main attention becomes not our weather, but the weather on the East Coast with Sandy, which could become a hybrid storm that could really make a mess of the East Coast. We watch as the weather around here is fairly quiet. Could be a flurry Sunday, but the likelihood of that is fairly remote. Sandy is off the coast, churning up waves across the East Coast. And the GFS has Sandy then turning to the east. There's a few models, the Canadian and the European, that want to swing it to the north and west. But around here, that won't affect us. The next precipitation chance, Tuesday, with a warm front that will bump this cold air out. You see a piece of Sandy merging with the cold front coming through today, producing some heavy rain over the north and east. And a week from today, there's Sandy just to the south and southeast of Nova Scotia, and the trough kind of becoming a little bit hard to define, wavy pattern across the country. We have a southerly wind, so you can say goodbye to 40s. We'll probably have 50s to near 60 for highs, and not so lovely weather if you're heading to places like Washington, Baltimore, and up to Boston. A couple days later, November the 4th, we have pretty much a west-east flow with a bit of a trough over New England and the Great Lakes. It means fast-flowing storm systems, and temperatures pretty much staying close to normal or average for the early part of November. Highs in the 50s or so, with maybe a few rain showers around. A couple days later, at the end of the forecast, on the 8th, we have a storm system off the New England coast again. We have a piece of energy moving through the upper Midwest, still with a zonal pattern involved. And we have a storm system coming through here with maybe a shower, maybe some snow to our north. Otherwise, it looks fairly, relatively quiet for November standards, at least at best. But last night's satellite image showed a few low clouds around the upper Midwest with some fog. You'll see that in a little bit with the watch warning map. Some clouds with the storm system to our west with the storm system, and a piece of Sandy well off to our south and east. Watch warning map from a bit before midnight. Dense fog advisories from northern Kansas to Nebraska, the northwestern about third of Iowa into Minnesota and Wisconsin, some winter weather issues in the western part of the country, and tropical weather issues in the southeast. QPF chart precipitation over the next 5 days through Sunday evening at 7 o'clock, showing rainfall amounts could be anywhere in the state between a quarter to upwards of 1 inch of rain, and it all depends on if you get a thunderstorm, and a heavy thunderstorm at that.